Welcome to my channel trailer. My name's Haych. I make wrestling content over on TikTok and I've considered starting a YouTube channel before, but I've been shy, nervous, hesitant, all that good stuff. But recently I've had quite a bit of encouragement from people saying that they think I'd be good at long form content. So I thought, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a go. Couple fun facts about me as a wrestling fan. My favorite wrestlers of all time are Eddie Guerrero and Lita. I started watching wrestling in 2001, so I am a scratch logo, ruthless aggression era kid. I naturally grew out of watching wrestling in about 2006, so I had a 5 year run. However, as a UK wrestling fan, sometimes it was like mining for gold to try and watch wrestling, because if the money wasn't moneying and the Sky Sports package wasn't on, I ain't seen anything. And if I wasn't in when Velocity or Heat was on, I ain't seeing it. So I'm scrambling. Sometimes I go to my auntie's house and I know that they have Sky Sports. I'm like, okay, I can watch today. Let me enjoy myself. But speaking of missing things, one of the most heartbreaking experiences as a young wrestling fan would be when my dad, who I believe was an absolute op, would record the pay-per-views for me on the Sundays. And of course, it's a school night, so I can't watch it live. But then I'd be so excited to come home and watch the pay-per-view after school. I'd put it in, and then the match would end. It cuts to the backstage segment. Tell me why the tape also cuts. And then it will cut back in when the next match starts. I was thinking, Dad, because as a kid, the wrestling is cool, but you're liking the backstage segments. My dad is an op for that, and he would do that almost every single time. Even though I grew out of wrestling, I was always a fan from the sidelines, whether it was seeing things on my timeline and that sort of thing. And I'd have moments where I would dip back in, watch it, and then dip back out. I remember distinctly watching WrestleMania 31 and even writing a review about it. I was so happy that I happened to drop back in to witness the heist of the century. But yeah, 2024, late 2024, is when I fully locked back in. Quite frankly, I was going through a very, very dark time. And my timeline just started populating with lots of wrestling content. And I thought, you know what? Let me check it out and see what's going on here. And I became obsessed. And then I realized that they were bringing it to Netflix. I said, oh, okay. And since then, I have been fully locked in, back in the game. I did try and watch wrestling solidly again in the COVID period, in the Thunderdome era. But again, I was going through a dark time in 2024. So you can only imagine what I and a lot of people were experiencing in 2020. And watching wrestling with no crowd, I just couldn't. But 2024 was my return to wrestling fandom full time. I've been locked in and I decided to start making content in 2025. January, I say, you know what? It's coming to Netflix. Let me come to the internet with wrestling content, because I was getting so into it and I had nobody that I could talk to about wrestling in my real life. So I needed an outlet. So I said, you know what? Start a TikTok, make the videos, talk about the wrestling. And so far, it's been fantastic. Here's something I've never ever said whilst making my wrestling content. And I'm just shy to say it because in my mind, I'm like, if you want to, you will. But I guess to grow, you should be having calls to action. So let me just say it. Let me stop being shy. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff. But jokes aside, join me on this journey on YouTube and I will catch you in the next one.